So let's just jump. We're not going into Raw yet, but I've got to talk about my girl MT Green.
Yes.
So she's resigning.
Moneybags.
Yes, she's resigning on January the 5th. So I did some investigative reporting, and
Kev's on fire this week. The fucking pad is there. The fucking
yeah,
pencil is
so
flying this week.
so they take in order to calculate your pension, they take your top 3 years. All right. So they take your top 3 years and they divide that by three. So in her case, it'd be $174,000 was her top year. So they times that by the amount of the number of years that you were in on duty, and in her case, it's five. So it's 174,000 times five, and then you times it by 1%. And that comes to a whopping $8,700. And she doesn't become eligible for that until she turns 62.
62, right.
So I guess she, with that money, and if she can get on Broadway, she's going to kill. But I mean, that's, and I saw like on X, like several people with these lines of like, oh, she's going to, this is bullshit. She's number one, and even if you do 25 years, if you're one of these lifers, you still only get 80% of your best
Yeah.
3 years.
Yeah.
So, and think about it, the military only gets 50%. So if you do 35 years in the military, you get your top 3 years, and it's 50%. So these and the military doesn't get paid during government shutdowns. Also wanted to touch because we do this every week. We go off on tangents and we talk about people accusing guys of sleeping with Vince, and it's bullshit. But we had the Comey and James trials both last week. We had those thrown out. The cases were both dismissed by the judge, and Lindsay Halligan was the
She's going to be
appointed attorney.
disqualified,
Yeah,
right?
she was disqualified because she wasn't properly installed. But the brilliant legal mind of Pam Bondi still thinks that there's a play there after the dealer turned over the jack and the black ace of spades to go ahead and play another hand of blackjack. So we had that going for us this week.
Do you
So
think? Well, before we get off this, it's
James
the
James isn't going to get in trouble because
the charge is
investigation,
mortgage fraud. Am I correct? Right, mortgage
and
fraud.
she's got her niece is renting the house, which vindicates what they were trying to say.
Because it's family.
Yeah, so that one there, and then Comey we'll just have to see. Um, then we also had the president of the United States was going to kill six members of Congress. Mostly they were going to go after Kelly because he is retired military, and I mean he's a decorated veteran, NASA pilot. So if you're going to go after somebody, and they were saying basically that they were seditious. They were they did a for anybody that doesn't watch the news, they did an ad, the six of them, basically saying that you don't have to follow an unlawful order. And that was the gist of, you don't have to follow an unjust, and
Which is
nobody's
correct, Kev. You're a
right,
military guy, right?
right. You don't. And they were saying it was basically putting the president in a position where nobody was going to take his commands. So I had to have a drink of water on that one. Uh, so for those that don't know, there are things like an unlawful order, and for people in my age bracket, it would go back to 1968 to Vietnam, and it would go to a village called My Lai, and there was the Lieutenant Calley, and there was the infamous or famous or whatever you want to call it, but there was a an incident called the My Lai massacre, and Calley he was pretty new. His platoon had took uh, I want to think they had taken three casualties like a week or two earlier in like a minefield situation, and then they lost like kind of like a backbone of the platoon. I think it was a sergeant to a booby trap, and intelligence had them walking into a pretty heavily fortified North Vietnamese compound. When they got there, there was just villagers, and they ended up shooting one of the villagers. There was a higher ranking officer that was there, and he basically told them that they needed to like clear it out. So they ended up like separating the people, like 60 over here, 60 over here, 60, whatever. And it was just like, no, 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 no. I want them killed. So basically, they just opened fire on them. They raped, pillaged. I mean, they just went absolutely berserk, and by taking this unlawful order. So that's when when our six Congress people are saying like, don't obey a dislawful order, it would be like the equivalent of maybe, I don't know if you want to go to 71, maybe not have the National Guard shoot into a bunch of kids at Kent State in
Kent
Ohio.
State.
I don't know. I mean, that could,
Well, they were just reiterating something that's already
right.
law
And so
under the Uniform
now
Code of
in order for
Conduct.
them to go after Kelly, they've got to reactivate him into full time permanent duty, and then they'll take him to JAG, which is military, the military justice, which has completely different rules, and they'll see if they can court martial Kelly over the fact that, and not even the guy hasn't done enough. He hasn't served us militarily. He hasn't served us in the shuttles, which everybody knows that the chance of one of those exploding was like 1 in 8. Uh, and his wife got shot in the head as she ran for a political office. So he hasn't had enough in his life, and he takes a stance because I don't think people understand when they vote. And when you vote and you put that name down, you need to really think in the future of what this person is capable of doing. Uh, you know, because I never thought, and today was a perfect example. You know, two young West Virginia National Guardsmen were murdered, and they're not dead yet. But I mean, they were both they were pronounced deceased.
They were announced as having been killed.
Yeah, being
Yeah.
killed, and then it was retracted, and they're in ICU, and no matter how you look at it, and I'm not saying this to be an asshole, but it's very difficult to have our National Guard be singled out by some crazy when they're not deployed. So, and then on top of all that, the president and the God of War Pete have decided that we're going to deploy 500 more National Guard into the Washington D.C. area.
What's the price tag on something like this, Kev?
Well, for the last 3 months, from what the research that I was able to pull up, the last 3 months it's cost the taxpayers $250 million
just for Washington?
just for Washington.
So multiply that by any of the big cities that had
Well,
deployments.
they've been in L.A. for how long? Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
And
so-
also, now, Kelly and the 6 senators in the video, they've not done anything. They've
No,
not
they
disobeyed a command themselves. They just reiterate something that is already law under the
Right.
Military Uniform
Right.
Code of Conduct.
right.
So I don't know. I don't understand.
What it is, it's the same as Comey. It's they. It's a vindictive administration that if you piss them off, they come after you and they make your
Right.
life a living hell.
How funny was it that they would always criticize the Biden administration, saying he's weaponizing the government, and then they get in office, and it
But
has been
that's
a
our whole problem.
nonstop
It's just
story.
like, it's we got to get rid of Pelosi. If anybody's seen her portfolio, oh my God, she's made hundreds of millions of dollars and blah 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 blah. And then you look at the list; she's 10th. She's 10th on the list of people that have used insider trading. It's across the aisles.
But it might not be insider trading. Insider trading is a crime. They've just you're just talking about the number of transactions.
No, I'm talking about fucking being in subcommittees and knowing exactly what's going to be approved, what's not going to be approved, and making a move before you and I even know the company exists. I mean, when you're setting out defense contracts and you know that Raytheon's getting this, this, and this, it makes it much easier that night Raytheon, before the news comes out that Raytheon's going to get 3 new defense
Oh, I get
projects. Yeah, so
But in theory, they're not supposed to be. They're precluded from trading in anything.
well,
that
in
they have
theory,
an
you're not supposed to
active-
get blown by events either. But my God, I mean,
Hey, some feedback from last week's episode, Kev. How about that? Mike M.
let's just make sure we don't have anybody out there that we don't know that's throwing a grenade into the room. Go ahead.
Like Edgar Watson says, are we looking at a slow-moving coup? I guess
No, I don't think
not
so.
enough. MTG,
I don't
flipping
think
sides, not enough.
I don't think there's a reason. I think that one thing about politicians, man, is there's nobody that's more astute at self-preservation than them. And if they see a ship going down, they'll fucking they'll cut any ties they have to it. So
Gotcha.
I've seen it several times.
All right. Next.